covering what I expect to be two heavy-hitting sides in this 2022 Hills football season. Last week's only game of the MPL was between Norwest and Kellyville, with the former taking a 2-1 win here at this great ground. Today's home side had a bye round, which has, funnily enough, put them on level points with Norwest without having played a game yet. But today that changes. Of the 13,000 players, 1,000 coaches and 8 Premier League sides, only one will prevail as champions in this competition here. The 5th year that this competition has existed. Yes, there have been 2 null and void seasons, the 2 most recent seasons, but 2017 and 2019 saw this Kenthurst side finish first and win the championship, with that year split down the middle being 2018, in which they finished first but couldn't find their best feet in the finals. That's 3 full seasons, twice the grand final winners, and history indicates that Kenthurst are a 100% chance of finishing first come the end of the regular season. Their opposition, Castle Hill United, capable of beating anyone on their day with their extremely young and energetic squad. Overlapping fullbacks and the like, cut it back. Once you get to the byline, that's the kind of football they like to play. And like I said, on their day, when they're switched on, they'll take on any team in the world. No matter today's result, what's more important is that live local football is back on your Facebook and YouTube feed again. In saying that, you can put your house on this being a hotly contested match. It's Kenthurst against Castle Hill United. It's the Hills Football Men's Premier League, as brought to you by ACPE. And I think it's time we have a look at the lineups, as we are just a couple of moments out from the 2 captains of each respective side coming together and flipping a coin. Today's home side, as I mentioned, Kenthurst starting in goal. Joseph Yamin, who's moved his way up from the reserve grade side and is filling in for this season. Regular goalkeeper who was slightly bigger in stature and had a bit more of a presence about him. Probably not as agile as young Joseph himself, but has moved on to do other things, and now it's Joseph's time to step up, make it his. This back four from left to right, Matthew Leroy in the number 11 jersey. The captain and the coach, Graham Forbes, who wears 8. Number 29, Michael Thornton next to him. Russell Farrell, who wears 4, who'll be bombing up and down all day despite being 34 years of age. You can tell he's got the fitness tank of a Skoda Octavia, that's for sure. This midfield 4, which changes into a 4-3-3, so a midfield 3 when they go into attack. The one to watch today, Jordan Bonello in the number 9 jersey. And in the middle, Daniel Vukovic, not to be confused with Danny Vukovic, Australian goalkeeper, Socceroos goalkeeper. He wears the 16 jersey. He's alongside Matthew Geekie, who wears 17, 16 and 17 next to each other, quite satisfying. On the right, Paul Tassis, one of the youngest players in this side at 22, which might not seem that young when you compare it to the Castle United side, which I'll talk about in a second, but this Kenthurst side have played together for a number of years. Extremely good squad chemistry, and you'll see it come to the fore today. And then through the middle, Peter Checker, who should be wearing the number 10 jerseys, unless that has changed since I spoke to him about an hour ago. And then Edward Rinaldi, but we might call him Eddie today, who wears 13, 12 goals in the reduced season last time out. Golden Boot, who has been splitting it with Jordan Benlow for 4 years straight. Competition Golden Boot, not just Club Golden Boot. Those two, when in attack, are the ones to watch. They aim to hit them in isolated spaces, expect them to take on in a 1v1 situation up against the Castle Hill United defenders, beat them, cross it or score. That's the expectation by Graham Forbes, of course, the coach of this side. Moving over to the opposition today, Jared Nichols starts in goal wearing the number 1 jersey, also a back 4. The captain, Peter Lawtree, who wears number 9, who is the number 19. On the right back, Connor McPhee, 24-year-old, who wears number 11. 2 centre-backs on the right, Owen Langan, who wears 14, and then the number 72, 23-year-old Connor Holmes. The 2 pivoting 6s screening those centre-backs, both of them with a slightly different role, which I'll explain after I mention their names. It's Luke Armstrong, who wears number 4, and Brock Munro, who wears 27. Luke is more of the box-to-box, he likes to say, whereas Brock likes to get forward and do the damage a little bit further up the pitch than Luke. Man wearing the 8 jersey but playing in the 10 position, Dan Berry. On the left, Lachlan Davis, who looks to hit the byline, hug the touchline, cross it in. On the right, Cameron Aegis, who wears 34, is the player to watch, returning back after he moved here from a little further out in Western New South Wales, coming back here. He's 8 goals last year for Willoughby. Moved more out Windsor way, and this was closer for him, of course, his former club when he was younger. Up top, Charlie James. Happy birthday for yesterday, he turned 23. Fantastic to know that Everybody's having a jolly time at the moment. Like I said, both teams still warming up. There was a bit of a delay in the reserve grade game there, which finished 4-1 in favour of today's considered away side. Quite a fantastic achievement for them. They'll be really happy with that. Kent just perhaps a little blown away, a little perplexed by that, but I'm sure they'd like to make amends today. Bruce Baker is the coach. Bruce Baker, that is, for Castle Hill United. Spoke to him. Very well-spoken man. Knew exactly what he wanted for his team. Castle Hill, a team who are certainly resilient on and off of the pitch. Had some hardships in recent years, and they have pulled themselves out of it in a fantastic way. And it's great to know that this group of players are not just a team, but they are a family. And I think you could definitely say that about Kenthurst as well. Of course, they played together for so long now. Some of these guys coming into their twilight years, but certainly enjoying their football just as much as they did 10 years ago, even 20, some of them. Take nothing away from this Castle Hill United side. History will suggest, and history is always a great indicator, that Kenthurst are the ones to watch all season. However, they finished second in the reduced season last time out. Norwest were on top. Norwest always a strong team, like I said. They had their 2-1 win over Kellyville, who I will remind have been able to train amidst all of the flooding happening and the rainfall at the moment. Most of these sides in New South Wales, really, from association to association, have struggled to maintain any sort of regular training, especially grass field training. Some have been able to, some have been lucky enough even to rent out this pitch we're looking at here, this fine place on the edge of the M7. However, it's not a privilege everyone could share. Kenthurst have been here a couple of times. Castle Hill, I do believe, as well. Either way, I'm extremely excited to be here and bring you what is the first live commentated game of the season. Last week was lacking that, unfortunately. Hope you enjoy the game just as much as I know I'm going to. If you're watching along now on our Facebook and YouTube pages, please do be aware I'll have a look at our live stream, live chat comments at halftime. I'll respond to all of them. I can chat to you about what you think is going to happen in the game. Maybe you could leave a prediction, a goal score, and perhaps you want to shout out a family member who might be playing today, perhaps any other observations you have. I'll be reading them at halftime. Until then, my phone is on Do Not Disturb, but I will check them come the interval. Like I said, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to ACPE, and you can check out their course offerings at acpe.edu.au. Like I said, partnering with Liverpool International Academy, New South Wales, setting up multiple institutions around Greater Sydney. So if you need any more proof in the pudding that if you're interested in sport, that's the place to go, do go there. Castle Hill United just doing their final kick arounds, getting themselves familiar with the pitch, familiar with how the ball feels. Might be the first time they've used the new balls. I'm not quite sure. Let's see what changes from season to season. I'll remind you that last season in the shortened 2021 season, again, 2 points separated first place Norwest and fifth place. I'm not aware who fifth place is because that table doesn't exist anymore. However, I can promise you that these two sides featuring here today were actually locked in second. Kenthurst has just come off the back of a big win, as had Castle Hill. Now we'll see who can start their season the better of the two. You could almost suggest there's a rivalry here as we see the two referees about to make their way into the centre of the park and call everyone together. A couple of big tackles I've been told have come into this towards the greasy part of the season, and it's resulted in emotions boiling over and cards being reached out of pockets. Let's hope for a nice clean game. In saying that, tackle as hard as you want, as fairly as possible, and we'll have a game for the ages, I promise you. Once again, thank you for joining us here on Hills Football Match of the Round. My name is Mark DePoli, as I said before. Very happy to be the person bringing you this game. Sorry for the delay that we're experiencing so far. The previous game went a little bit into the time of this. Of course, we'll play the full game. Just a little bit more delayed. It means you have to listen to my annoying voice a little bit more. I'm sure you'll be okay. There is a mute button to the bottom left of your Facebook and YouTube page, I'm sure. Looks like Castle Hill have chosen to pop out to the left-hand side of your screen. Players to watch, I'll remind you, starting with the home side, Edward Rinaldi, of Italian descent, and we talked about that prior, where we both had our respective families coming from, and of course Jordan Bonello, who's also Maltese, which covers both of my ends. So no bias there, but expect them to do quite well. For Castle Hill, player to watch, Cameron Aegis, number 34, 23-year-old. Like I said, 8 goals for Willoughby last season before returning back to his, I guess you could call it, boyhood club. Both teams on the pitch at the same time in their lovely, lovely new 2022 kits. First grade Kenthurst side needs to make amends for that reserve game that happened just prior to this. An absolute pasting by their own high standards. That's for sure. Graham Forbes, who wears 8, is the coach featuring out there. We'll see how that impacts the game. I'm sure it'll be a positive one. As you can see here at the furthest point away on the screen on the right. And Bruce Baker, double B. Let's see what he can conjure out of this young, ever-improving, season-on-season, getting better side. I'm extremely excited to be here and itching for this game to start. I really am. Just the delays. Rain's been kind enough to hold out, which is fantastic, because it means we're going to get a slightly damp pitch with no external interference. There's absolutely zero wind interference here at all, as you can see. No trees blowing in the beautiful background that we've got. And our referees moving to their respective positions, centre and AR, I mean by that. Final stretches, final huddles. Coach's final words. Moments away now. Kenthurst ready to go. Castle Hill now ready to go. It'll be a kick-off for those in red. For the ever-brilliant, long-withstanding holders of this now, because of the 2 shortened seasons. So technically they've kept their crown. 2 sides here battling it out after 2 years of not being able to find out who's the best of the hills. Today that begins, hopefully, the mark of a long, full, prosperous season for everyone involved. Good luck to every team involved in this competition. Once again, thank you to ACPE. Kickoff milliseconds away. And away we go in the Hills football competition. Kenthurst in possession. There is the captain and player and coach. That's won really well in the air there by Russell Farrell, who's then got work to do again. Long ball over the top, which can always cause an issue if the communication is not there. I'll remind both teams have not trained all too much, although in terms of playing time, Kenthurst actually did participate in the what is now called Australia Cup, formerly known as FFA Cup. I guess you could call it a Prince moment there. Going down quite hard there has Jordan Bonello, but he's recovered just fine in those fantastic yellow boots. You can see how he comes from the left wing into central when they're pressing and attacking. That's a long ball, really well done by yesterday's birthday boy Charlie Jones, who wears 10 but plays 9, and the 10 who wears 8. Keep an eye out for that from the Castle Hill United side. Luke Armstrong putting pressure there. Goes back to his position straight away. Lots of energy in this side. In possession, Joseph Yamin. Cool, calm and collected on the ball. That's a very risky ball in the end by Matthew Geeky, who's got by far the most experienced head on the pitch. It's cleared away into safety. Play resumes. No breaks in play just yet. Uprising really well was Aegis. He's going to have to fight really hard to keep that in. He doesn't. Good experience there by Forbes. First break in play. Kenthurst look to win this back here. Putting his head in a dangerous area was Aegis. Blake Monroe's lost that. But wins the free kick in the process. Now the stop-start play comes into it a little bit. Connor McPhee on the ball. He wears the 11 at right back. I dig that. That's interesting. As Owen, who wears 14, that's Owen Langan, passes that ball out from that free kick. Won that back really well in the end by Peter Lautre. And they'll restart. Luke Armstrong goes back to his centre-back partner Langan. Goes wide to McPhee straight away. Press in they do, but that's a good ball forward. And Aegis with plenty of work to do. Keeper decides to come and then doesn't. There's a man at the free at the back stick. Can it find him? No, Forbes done really well, but he's had to turn on a dime, which is probably not the one you want turning on a dime like that, but he's done really well in the end. All that experience to position himself absolutely perfectly and snuff out that danger there. Throw was not long enough, and away come Kenthurst in possession again. It's Daniel Vukovic who comes forward. Matthew Leroy back to his coach, captain, and of course centre back partner Matthew Leroy again. Another fullback who wears 11, this time in red and on the left rather than the right. Really good touch there by Vukovic, using all of his experience. Really good ball to Eddie Rinaldi, who might have the first chance of the season. Kenthurst couldn't capitalise on it. Too much oomph on that pass. He's done really well there, has Jared Nickel. Another young goalkeeper, one of the hardest positions, if not the hardest, in all of sport. And the referee's been taken out there. Shake of hands and everything is okay. Physical battle so far. No one in position here. Berry goes to his striker. It's back to Berry. The two odd numbers are comparing and coming together here, but they've not found a way to get it out of their feet, and they lose it. They could have done something very special there, but they've not been able to communicate. And that's just that first round Blues. Like I said, they haven't played much pre-season competitively. Friendly, yes. They've had 2 wins and a loss. They thumped one side, lost pretty poorly to another, and then beat another one handsomely. Is there a substitution happening here? No, there's not. There may be. I'll keep you informed as I know. Looks like nothing has changed just yet. There will be Castle Hill United to take this in a very advanced position on the pitch. As you can see on the far side, on the right hand side of your screen. Forbes there looks to be coming off of the pitch. That altercation has hurt him, and off he comes straight away. I will inform you of who's coming on the second I do know. That looks to be James Goff, the number 26, coming onto the pitch. Long throw and then cleared again by Vukovic. Bonello is there, so is Connor McPhee. There's Peter Checker there, impossible to miss in that wonderful 10 jersey. 4 years ago, part of the Hills United side, where he won a golden boot. Had a stint at Blacktown City as their striker as well. Decided that through work commitments and the like and family, he wanted to come and just ply his trade at a local level. Nothing wrong with that at all. Out wide there. First time it's really gone on that side of the pitch, that far into the defensive half of Castle United, but Kenthurst back in possession now after a back and forth there. It's really well done. Paul Tassis combining there with Matthew Geeky, who then cross-field switch to Michael Thornton. Forgive me, that's Russell Farrell, who seems to have come from right to left. He then goes back to where he received a really poor pass in the end, and they might come forward. That's Lachlan Davis with a progressive pass, then over the top towards the Dangerman Aegis. But it looks like the young Peter Lautre will be there to snuff it out. He does. Throwing in favour of Kenthurst. Long throw that is. That's Peter Checker there, who's got a significantly bigger frame than most around him. He's got the ball back here. He looks up, then scans and scans again. Goes infield. Little good 1-2 triangle into play here. That's fantastic. Bonello on the ball now. He then progresses it. Really good ball. Ronaldo using all of his pace to get there. Keeper's confused. Keeper does really well not to use his hands there. Any extra inches either way, that might have been the first red card, and a very early one at that. But he's done really well in the end. As Jared Nickel stepping up as well for his perhaps starting debut in first grade. That's lost in a dangerous area, but fortuitously it's back with Castle Hill United. Long that goes, misdirected completely. And it looks to be Russell Farrell, who's permanently moved into a centre half position. He's wonderfully tall though, he won't struggle with any balls into the area. Paul Tassis coming infield, as I mentioned that he would. 1-2 there with Rinaldi, not quite come out the way he wanted to. And he's had 2 chances so far, and I've been told he's the best player in the league when he wants to be, if he gets those balls into isolated positions, but when he has to beat 2 or 3, it might be a bit more difficult for him. Let's see what he can do today. Offside call, first one of the day. Probably didn't expect it, but play was allowed to continue to see if advantage would be taken. It wasn't, and they get the offside, which is now then called back to the actual position. It was called offside. And Kenthurst get the chance to recycle the ball. In the field that goes. Vukovic done well. Rinaldi's dropped deep to receive clipped ball back over the top. That's a really good ball for Daniel Vukovic, 34-year-old returning to football this year after a stint out, most recently at Prospect United 3 years ago. There have been changes, however, I'm not exactly sure who's changed in that defensive line for Kenthurst. I will inform you as I figure it out. Rinaldi on the far side of your screen. Checker is there in support. He instead plays the safer option to Matthew Leroy. Long shot attempted, deflected, and it'll be the first corner on that near side there. So Russell Farrell certainly one of the defenders there. Matthew Leroy there as well. But there is also a number 29. That's Michael Thornton there. And if that far side defender is 26, I promise you that's James Goff. However, he's not turned in my direction just yet. This will be an in-swinging corner. The ball finally gets to him. Seems we only have one to use at the moment. Let's see what comes of this. In swing, here it comes. Looks to be going back stick. Dangerous looking ball, but too high in the end for everybody, and it goes out for a goal kick. Rinaldi here receiving some treatment, or perhaps just some water. Not attacking in that phase at all. Goal kick taken. Long that goes. Over the top. That's a really good ball. Charlie Jones, he's pushed himself a bit too wide here. He'll have to come back central if he wants to make something of it. He's lost it, and then it's going to go out for a throw-in, and we're going to be here for a while. Make a cup of tea while we get a ball to replace that one. Blessed enough to find one here. It's a fantastic ball by Connor Holmes, I do believe. Throwing in it comes, very dangerous, very Liam Delap-like, Rory Delap, I should say, and away it goes. Bonello wins it back, counter-attacking opportunity here for sure. They might have to foul him just to bring him down. One of the dangerous players in this side and the whole comp. Really good outside of the foot switch. Tassis has come from left, from the right. Tassis again, little flick there, but not quite the power he needed to find his 9 there. And Kenthurst will recover. Michael Thornton on the ball here now. Checker as well. Bonello, who's come central, even off to the right a little bit. Well, one by Matthew Geekie. Checker. Tassis. Checker again. Not his best touch, but he will do well to keep it. Luke Armstrong up there. He wins that back. Takes it off the feet of the experienced man. There's one back straight away by Kenthurst. This should be surely an opportunity. They can play quickly. No, cleared, but a foul given away there. Extremely dangerous. Castle Hill, they just need to sort their feet out when they're at the back. Seem to be a bit too frantic, yet somehow still hesitant. Just clear the ball if you need to like that. Preferably before giving away the free kick. Jordan Bonello, Peter Checker, Daniel Vukovic, all standing over that ball, but it looks to be the first name I mentioned, Jordan Bonello, in that wonderful 9 jersey with the yellow boots. It matches, it looks picture perfect from this angle that we've got right here. Expect something huge here. 4-man wall, keeper clearly letting him shoot at that near post. The Ronaldo-esque stance. Whistle is blown. Plays it short. Really creative idea there. Whipped across the face. Should be cleared by Castle Hill. It is, but really poor clearance. And the first goal, no! He's calling for a touch, but I'm not sure. It's been given as a goal kick, but whether it's a corner or a goal kick, that chance should have been taken. Only 6 yards out. And Tassis is arguing and arguing and arguing, perhaps trying to justify why that's gone wide, but in the end, he's going to need to take a cold look at himself and wonder how on earth did I miss that. Goal kick is shanked a little bit. Checker is there. Castle Hill again causing all their own problems. McPhee against Bonello, who's done well to see that go out. Throw in taken. Charlie Jones there. And as far as Checker though, fantastic couple of touches there. Bonello wasn't really expecting it and wasn't quite anticipating the amount of power on it. Poor touch, but it was cleared and the danger remains. Back it goes, perhaps alleviated for the moment. Russell Farrell, crossfield switch. How wide that goes. The man who'll be wondering, could I have made the difference there, trying to put pressure on. There is a number 33, Alex Torville, I will say, not James Goff. Alex Torville, number 33, playing in that right back position in place of Russell Farrell, who's now moved central. Off came the coach captain of this side. Really well done there by Brock Munro, who's been everywhere across that screening line. Left, right, central. Bonello again causing all kinds of problems. McPhee with a handful today for sure. Shake of the hands, he got the better of him there, but not the shot. Keeper remains in possession of the ball, slows things down, lets his side breathe for a second. They need to get some territory. Kenthurst all over them at the moment. Might be a foul call there, but I'm glad the referee hasn't given that. Indication of a fair but hard game coming, that's for sure. Matthew Leroy having a look at the ball here. Is it pumped enough? Let's see if this one is. Referee checking. And away we go. Matthew Leroy. Checker. Great touch again. Geeky. Done really well to find Thornton wide again to that new man, Alex Torville. Short and slightly backwards he goes to the man who originally found him. Crossfield switch this way. Transition play is so important for this Kenthurst side. They love to do it. I find that it bends and stretches and morphs the defence of their opposition every time, no matter who they play. Tires them out, and that's something they need when they have such experienced legs. I'm sure they won't take offence to that. It's just most sides are, on average, younger than them. So they need to make the ball work for them as much as possible. Kenthurst still dominating possession, dominating territory. Long ball attempted, not the best direction on it. And away there by Langan. Big tackle in there. Wondering why on earth that was a foul is Matthew Geeky, but referee has no issues in standing his ground. Kenthurst, of course, dominating this game so far. Not wanting to show of it just yet. Chance here, though, and that could be dangerous if it bounces funny. It doesn't, though. He just can't quite get there. First touch of the ball in a long, long time for the Kenthurst goalkeeper. Yamin takes his time, goes long, well clear of the halfway line. Who's going to win that out of the air? Castle Hill do. And not the greatest direction on that header. Rinaldi, not the man you want it falling to the feet of. Rinaldi goes for a long shot. It was dangerous in terms of where the keeper had to place his hands. He had to fall on it as it came in, but he's done really well. Safe hands in the end. McPhee. Langan now in possession. Across his body, really good ball. Peter Lawtree, who does most of the running in this side apparently, the captain of this squad. Uses his stronger foot to find Aegis. Just comes central. Aegis, maybe! Aegis! Oh, just wide of that far post. Perhaps the greatest opportunity that we've had since that first one on the 6-yard box. And on his weaker side, he just couldn't find the inner lining of that netting. Instead, Kenthurst with a heart and mouth moment for about 3 seconds there as we watched it trickle and trickle and trickle wide. He did just enough, in credit to them, in putting off young Cameron Aegis. Good to see that little change straight away. He's gone central. Charlie Jones has come wide. Russell Farrell back out wide. Thornton progresses that forward, clear the halfway line now. That's Tassis there. And then goes back to Thornton. A hint of breeze comes through. Yamin in possession after not doing anything for about 10 to 15 minutes. Now has had a couple of involvements in the matter of 45 seconds. Checker, who's dropped short to receive. That's a really poor pass. Yamin has to be quick. He's done really well. Farrell has to be even quicker here. Decision making and perhaps a lack of concentration just spilling into this Kentur side, who are so experienced as players and as a group, as a unit. And I wouldn't expect that to happen again, but it is possible. They are human in the end. Forward that goes. Not the greatest pass by Thornton. They'll have to recover. He's now out of position. Torville is there, but he sees that go out. Kentus need to work themselves back into the domination they had. Obviously, they don't want to concede too many chances like that. Like I said, Castle Hill United are ruthless when they feel like it. It seems they feel like it today. Dan Berry, who's pushed up a little bit higher along with Aegis there. Really nice flick there by Tassis, but creativity was there. Not the result he wanted, however. Kenthurst are not just a huge club in what is now the Hills Association, but they've been around for such a long time. Formed in 1967. If you can't remember exactly what year that was, 2 years before the first ever moon landing, of course. And if you are a bit of a music head like myself, the Beatles released Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and Jimi Hendrix are you experienced. From a footballing perspective, 1967 was the year Celtic won the European Cup, as it was formerly known as, against Internazionale of Milano, commonly known here in Australia as Inter Milan. Plenty and plenty and plenty of years of history, multiple associations played under. 5th year now in this wonderful Hills Comp. And if you're a fan of the Beatles, well, you've heard it now. Jimi Hendrix, you've heard it. Play resumes now finally. You get a bit of flow to this. Stop and start is becoming a little frustrating for spectators around me. Tassis, who's been really good to watch on the ball so far. Still with the greatest chance of the game so far, but it remains 0-0. Tassis, who comes centrally. Thornton. He's got a quick burst of acceleration for an experienced player. Wide that goes Bonello. That's a deft touch. Feint, you could even call it. Leroy comes forward into the box. Just deflected Armstrong with plenty of time. Only pressure on him was by the referee himself. Long ball that was attempted by Aegis and stuffed out by Bonello. The two dangermen for either side. One defending, one attacking this time. Long that goes. Here on this near side, Checker again. A fantastic touch. You can just tell there is a class above. Silly loss there by Geeky, though. Fortuitously one back in the middle of the park. Vukovic, not his greatest direction on the pass. And out that goes for a throw-in on the far side. Castle Hill United, you may mention. Established 1972, making them 50 this year. Congratulations to you guys on the half century. And as Davis comes forward, his first real involvement at the time I said his name. Aegis into the box. Good looking ball. Keeper should get there. He does. Unorthodox claim there, but he caught it with a mixture of forearm, face, and hands. Not sure which one he hit first, though. Sure his right cheekbone might know. Checker again. Seems to just create time that isn't there. How is he finding space? Bonello there, well in. 1972, like I said, 50 this year. The release of Exile on Main Street by the Stones, and the rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. That's 1972. Cast your mind back that far. I was born in 01, so I wasn't quite around at that time. Football-wise, the 1972 European Cup, as it was still called at that time, was won by Ajax, who beat a team we've never really mentioned before, Inter Milan. Unfortunately, if you're an Inter fan, you've had a poor couple of years there, 67 and 72 respectively. Sorry, I've had to bring up that heartbreak. Travelling here from Fred Catterson Reserve, Castle Hill United, and they've certainly worked themselves into this game a whole lot better in the last 10 minutes. Kentus need to switch back on. It actually seems to be Castle Hill with all the territory at the moment. Aegis, really nice ball, but unfortunately that one there has gone away. But high pressure, and then straight away, Luke Armstrong, no, wide. Not a position he's familiar with. Perhaps you could even say nosebleed. And the pressure got to him, and he's hoofed it wide. Short from the goal kick. Russell Farrell, left-footed pass up the line. Bonello is there, Connor McPhee is there too, and a clearance into next week. I'm not sure we'll ever get that ball back. Say goodbye. I'm looking around, I'm looking behind me, nothing's falling. With the slightly flatter ball, we go on. Bonello, nice touch, checker again. Matthew Leroy, this is where Kenthurst are so dangerous. Give them the ball, and they will make it work for them. Pushed wide, Torville cuts inside, beats Davis, and beats Munro. Checker there again, who is incapable of losing the ball. Right on the offside line there. Cut back, right inside the box now. Rinaldi, still Rinaldi, against Holmes, blocked, corner, far side. Apologies for that wind coming in. As you can see, the trees moving, the corner flags pushing one way and the other. It's interfering with the mic. I'll do my best to put myself in the way of it. Outswinging corner this time, it'll be Rinaldi to take. Short and flat, and then uprising Kenthurst players, and then the follow-up. No, Tassis on his stronger side there, although he's done well to keep it. Matthew Leroy goes back to his deepest player, not including the goalkeeper. Thornton comes forward. I like to see centre-backs driving forward with the ball. There is space always for them to run into. Don't be scared of it. Aegis, square to Armstrong. Really nice ball. Is he onside? No, he's not. As he'll find out now. I'm sure it's not a welcome finding out. Nil-nil it remains. Tight and cagey affair. Quality of football growing as the minutes tick on by. These two clubs just looking to get some consistency into playing football. If that comes in line, who's our assistant referee here? Long that goes across his body. Aegis is there, who's doing a lot of defensive work as well as very often being the furthest player forward. He was central for a while. He's now back to his, I'm sure, beloved right-hand side. 1-2, and then a 3 doesn't go the way he wanted it to. McPhee clears high and long past the halfway line, but only a throw in to show. Those fullbacks push forward for Kenthurst. Farrell under a little bit of pressure by Jones, but not really. Just cutting off the passing lane there, forcing them to go in their own designated area. Geeky, crossfield switch, testing the touch there of Tassis. He's done, no, not Tassis. In fact, it was Torville off the bench and done really well. Now Tassis central, outside of the foot. Pinch, I would call that. Only as far as the young goalkeeper. Saved at the end by Jared Nicol, who's happy to slow things right down. Let his team get back into position. Of course, it's difficult to train, let alone get fit in the first place. We will see, I'm sure, in about an hour's time from now, who's had the better of the pre-seasons, conditioning-wise. Nice pass there. Dan Berry then goes forward again, but it's found the touchline. And we're just looking for someone to step up and make this game their own. There have been chances either side. I'd say one big chance each. But they've not been able to capitalise either side. Checker, will he be the difference maker? Geeky, 20 years at the club. Rinaldi, great touch. Not quite the one he needed to beat those two though. Misdirected clearance, a little off balance as he took it. Played quickly. Kenthurst looking to keep the pressure up. Vukovic, progressive pass. Not the best touch by Bonello, who's worked himself out of the game a little bit, but now in conceding the free kick, which I'm not sure the Kenthurst players are very happy with the decision. And he's being told by coach and player alike. Decision is final, and away we go. Not the greatest free kick of all time. Torville, forward he comes. Bonello is beaten to the ball by Owen Langen, who's wearing that 14 jersey at centre-back. Big pressure up into the back there. of Lachlan Davis. And now perhaps a chance. Really good looking ball. Aegis might get there first. He won't though. Really good positioning in the end by the goalkeeper. And a throw straight away to try and launch something down this near side here. Infield comes Leroy on his greatest pass though. Checker using his incredible stature. Almost a perfect ball. But Rinaldi didn't find it to his feet. Aegis not aware of Vukovic being there. Throw in again. Lots of stop-start now. I'll remind you as well, when you haven't played for a long time and you come and play on a synthetic, it is hard underneath. Not tough to fall on necessarily. Tough to slide on, that's for sure. But to fall on not is painful. It doesn't sort of give like quote-unquote real grass. Just noticed Bonello testing out his back a little bit there. Could have been an awkward landing. Oh, that's a really good ball in the end. Into a dangerous area now, Castle Hill United. And then Charlie Jones slips as the shot was being taken. No, penalty should be called there, and I'm glad the referee agrees. You mean clears, but certainly a clearance because it's gone to absolutely no one in the red shirt. Here come the white and green again. Green and white perhaps. In it comes. Dangerous area cleared before it got to that point. Very, very high. It's gone up above the stadium roof. And then maybe now if that can be a perfect ball. Rinaldi, will he beat the goalkeeper this time? Rinaldi, the keeper's done really well. Ball still in a dangerous area, cleared. Kentos have a chance to recycle it before Castle Hill get all their players back. Bonello! No, saved in the end. Really sharp reflexes in the end by Jared Nickel. Kenthurst are dangerous. Their technical players are thriving in positions like that. They talked about that to me when I spoke to them over the phone a couple of days prior to this. When they can get their best players in isolated positions, you back them to win the 1v1 every time. Rinaldi will take an in-swinging corner here. Perhaps it'll be played short. It is the latter of the two. Into the box, Leroy. Too deep again, similar to the first one we had. Will it be kept in? It was. Throw in, which means they can box in a little bit more than a goal kick. Perhaps keep the pressure on. Big chance there. Perhaps the shot was a bit too far out for anyone to take there, but he gave it a go, did Bonello. As we creep closer towards half-time. Still nothing on the scoreboard to separate the two teams. I'd suggest 2 big chances to 1 in favour of those in red. Edward Rinaldi, 12 goals with the halfway cancellation season golden boot. Jordan Bonello, 25-year-old, junior with the club, he's been 10 to 15 years on and off in a red jersey. We call him JB. He wanted me to tell you guys that he's a music festival lover. That's come into a really dangerous area and then cleared. The keeper had no idea what he was doing and bailed out by his centre-back in the end. Strong defensive header. That could be played over the top. It's not. Aegis picks up the loose ball. Chance to make something this. No, it won't be. Because Torville's got there. Something's been called. I think it was the advantage played, but no, the free kick was given. This halfway spot between the semicircle and the D. Castle Hill United. They won't be able to shoot out from this far, although I've been proven wrong before while holding a microphone. Happy to be, I should add. Will they try and find a noggin? Unfortunately, they admitted themselves they're not the tallest team. They are young. They have players still growing, which is why they don't like to defend set pieces, as you might have seen just then. A bit of a miscommunication. Luke Armstrong on the ball. And in dangerous area, Dages was there. But unfortunately for Castle Hill, so was Joseph Yamin. Long that goes. This is exactly what they like to do. Make the ball work for them. Long ball. Bonello into the box on his left side. Bonello deflection. Great save in the end. Couldn't keep it from a corner though. Pressure stays on. And in the blink of an eye, in the flash of light, Kentos went from defending to almost scoring up the other end. And that's twice or thrice that's happened now in the last 5 minutes. And Castle Hill need to be aware that they are exposed. They need to clear up like they were around that 20 to 30 minute mark. They were absolutely rock solid and creating more of the chances. In it comes. Dangerous area, middle of the box. Bonello's there. Oh, it's pushed wide. Another chance to Rue. Something to think about at half time, but you'd think now maybe they should be ahead. They're not. Somehow. Kentos fans watching along. Tell me, in that live chat, how long is it going to take you to find this first goal? Intelligently, Jared Nickel in goal, slowing things right down, letting his team recover. Not just physically, but mentally. They're just under a bit of pressure. Now that long ball is really hurting them from their own attacking phases, I might say. Long end to the left. Lachlan Davis rises, but not quick enough. Couldn't prevent a throw in, and once again Kenthurst in red on the ball inside the attacking half for them. Infield that goes Peter Checker, who we haven't seen as much on the ball. Farrell pierces two players. And they just get it back, and now some players are out of position. Chance for Kenthurst to come forward here. Checker squares to his right. Infield it goes, and then cleared by Luke Armstrong, and then not again. No. Bit of a miscommunication. Couldn't quite clear the ball. Couldn't quite clear their lines, but maybe they can launch a counter-attack here. Kenthurst plays now in a position that's really well snuffed out. He's seen the danger, pulled himself out of position, and put his body in the way of it, and he's probably stopped a really good counter-attack from forming there. He's then strategically put that over the fence, so now his team can really get back into the position they want to be in. What an enthralling first half. Bonello, who's come right central. Checker long and to his left. Not quite as far as where Rinaldi is, but the bounce Connor McPhee let happen will give Kenthurst the ball again. And they're just struggling with that long ball. Perhaps there might be a bit of sun in their eyes. Not something I'm having to struggle with up here. Farrell. That's a really interesting ball decision there. And they've been lucky enough to win that back. Thornton's been solid at the back. Torville forward, but he's lost it out to Charlie Jones. Back he goes. Peter Lawtree. Here he comes. Infield, that ball goes. Dan Berry then goes back towards his left back, and Lachlan Davis, who came central to allow his fullback to bomb on that touchline, couldn't quite find the returning ball. What's happening here? There's being a player called over. That's Russell Farrell. Might get a talking to, a slap on the back of the wrist perhaps. Sitting there to Peter Checker, who I imagine has become the captain since the departure of the player captain. That being coach Graham Forbes, off in the first 5 minutes of the match. Still sitting down, mind you, which means something is certainly not right in that hamstring area, perhaps. Matthew Leroy coming forward. Really nice tackle by Luke Armstrong, who then bursts forward himself. Numbers forward for Castle Hill, certainly, if they can push the ball into a dangerous area like this. Just across the face of goal. No one there, though. And they were well on side, so you wonder why they weren't making a marauding one into the box. Busting a lung to get into a dangerous area like that. It was in the 6-yard box there to finish. Would have been the easiest goal of their life, but unfortunately, was it fitness? Was it desire? Was it a mistake? They weren't there. Really well done by Luke Armstrong. He then released the ball straight away. Aegis progressed into that dangerous position. Wanted to take it himself, I'm sure. That was in the back of his mind, to mark his return to the club with a special goal against a special side. But no, not to be. Not to be. Goal kick, Kenthurst, long it goes. Past the halfway line we go. Up there was Bonello, but so was Connor Holmes, the number 72. Thornton back to his goalkeeper, who almost lost his clean sheet there. If it weren't for the mistake, I'm going to call it, by Castle Hill not to get into the box. Vukovic. Farrell. Snuffed out there by Aegis. Peter Checker is there. Infield, that goes. Paul Tassis looks to find Bonello. Really well done in the end, though, by Owen Langan. Danger not cleared, though. Edge of the box it comes. Hands behind the back as Dan Berry wins that back. Charlie Jones, the only one there with him. He's got about 8 players to beat before he finds any daylight. Couldn't get past the first one, though. I asked him to describe how he plays as the number 10 role. He gave me a very simple answer, and that was slow. Take it that of what you will. And there are plenty of 10s in the early 00s and 2010s who played quite slow, seemed to slowly play down. A little bit different in today's systems, I'm sure. Aegis now up against Matthew Leroy. This has been a battle to watch all game into the box. Really dangerous ball. Now maybe they're arriving. No, just a little too late again. Lachlan Davis there. Spent 12 years at the club, as has the man who whipped it into him. Unfortunately, couldn't combine there. Not the same wavelength when attacking. I have been told that they prefer to hit the byline and then cut it back towards the 12-yard area or the edge of the box. However, they've not really done that just yet, and those runs are coming in late. Perhaps the runners in late, I was expecting it on that penalty spot, the 12-yard mark or the 18-yard box. Instead, it's coming towards the 6-yard box. They're not quite ready for it. We will see if they can fix that up post-half-time, which is not far away, I'll remind you. Not far away at all. Connor McPhee happy to just slow things down. Castle Hill United, a couple of hands on heads moments. Lung-busting runs happening for these wingers and fullbacks for both sides. Aegis in particular, they don't want to lose him to any sort of fatigue. Vukovic of Croatian descent trying to bust a gut to get there, and now Mr. Slow himself, he called himself Dan Berry. Really good looking ball, cleared in the end by Torval. Actually going to be a really nice way to recycle the ball here, and forward they come. Players out of position, their two screening sixes are not there. That pass is allowed to happen. Rinaldi offside, not one that he's happy with, though he doesn't show it. And still we remain deadlocked. Rock Munro, who spent 6 months in Italy with Genoa. Nice ball though. Charlie Jones inside the box now. Jones! Yes, there it is! Finally this game has been asking for a goal, and they've got it! Happy birthday for yesterday, Charlie Jones. The 9 wearing 10, 7 goals last year, first one for the season. Castle Hill United perhaps take an unexpected lead considering the amount of chances Kansas have had. But it's one that they will feel they've deserved. Crosses into the box just weren't working, and then finally the piercing ball over the top has resulted in today's considered away side with the first goal of their season and the first goal of today, the first goal for Charlie Jones as well. Keeper caught in no man's land. Perfect finish in the end. And on the cusp of half-time, we have the one that breaks the deadlock. I asked for someone to step up and make the game theirs. Long shot attempted right from halfway, off of kickoff, well wide. And that might just do it for the first half. If that's gone right in, that reminds me of goals that I really don't like conceding on FIFA. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Back we go from this goal kick. Heavy wind coming in. I apologise if you are struggling to hear me a little bit. Not that I think you are, because I tend to yell quite loud. I'll try and body shield it until we get to half time. Castle Hill with a breakthrough though. Kentus might feel that they don't deserve to be behind, but I think Castle Hill will deserve that just as much as Kentus have deserved a goal as well. Flick on, Charlie Jones looking for a second. How's your pace? Up against Russell Farrell. Edge of the box, it looks to be heading. Snuffed out in the end. And now perhaps there's a chance to counter-attack. No, because they look more frantic to get the ball. Now Brock Munro, as he advances into the final third of the pitch. Munro looking for the 1-2 there with Berry. Couldn't quite find it. Berry's won it back though. Right on the edge of the box. He has to do it all himself. Everyone else around him is offside. Berry, no. One away and cleared. McPhee has to get there first. He does really well. Long and high. That header has gone. And then away by Kentos. Matthew Leary doing everything he can to keep it in. He keeps it in, but at what cost? They've lost the ball. No. That header's gone straight back to them. Another ball's got into the field. No. But Luke Armstrong will finally slow things down as we are pushed wide straight away. Peter Lawtree. Forward that goes. Can Brock Munro pass this halfway line? No. He's kept in this half. Luke Armstrong. Now, left-footed pass back to his centre-back. Owen Langen says, I'm sending this into next week, and does so. Referee looking at his watch, just having a glance, in fact, whistle to lips. No, not half-time, but asking for a ball. Ball he gets. That's a lovely fizzing drop kick there by one of the Kinto substitutes. See if he can have a involvement of sorts in the second half. Kansas in possession, so their own defensive half, who will be ruining missed chances. Goalkeeper's come out of his box twice to stop Rinaldi from having a simple tap in. Bonello's been saved from distance. This goes back to Joseph Yamin. Clears. Luke Armstrong is there though. The number 4 playing as the 6. Aegis. No head on hands anymore. Only hands in the air to celebrate the goal. McPhee uses his right foot to find Dan Berry, who's into the box, not really being tracked. I think everyone thought it was going to go wide, but perhaps the wind influenced that one there. Now into a dangerous area. He was offside though, he won't know it. And then it was cleared in the end. Aegis would have Shaw had that disallowed Munro up against Peter Checker, who's then brought down the latter. Free kick given. Kentis will want to take this quickly. In fact, now they do. With that ball stopped moving, it probably wasn't. Rinaldi trying to win that. Oh, that's a really poor header by Langen. Rinaldi. Bonello is there. Rinaldi's going to try and do it himself. Players arriving into the box now. Still Rinaldi. Still Rinaldi. Clearly preferring that right foot. Still in possession. Almost the entire team is in the box now. Rinaldi still trying. Rinaldi still in possession. Rinaldi across the face. No. Cleared. And then a kerfuffle. And then now it's in. Kenthurst with an equaliser. And you have to say they had been pushing and pushing, and a long ball has caused them problems all day, and they've done nothing to stop it. And Castle Hill, despite having just taken the lead, needing so long to do so to break the ice in this game, Kenthurst have hit back straight away. Vukovic on his returning game after having a couple of years out finds himself in the right place at the right time, using that experienced head on young boots to force that into the back of the net. And as we go in to the last couple of moments of this half, we are back to where we started it 45 minutes ago. All square. As that's squared to Munro, who's used his body really well to hold off Kiki. But then Peter Check has made a 2v1, and now Bonello trying to instantly put their side into the lead. Hasn't quite done that. Dan Berry, great touch, couldn't quite beat the ever rock solid Michael Thornton. He's then lost the ball out again to Dan Berry. No one seems to want to keep the ball at the moment. No foul there. Eddie Rinaldi now. Peter Checker back to Rinaldi. He has to do something here. Rinaldi, will he square it? Will he finish? Rinaldi straight at the keeper, who then claims a second ball. It's a huge thunderous applause from his home fans. But Rinaldi probably had 3 or 4 chances in this game to do something. Put his name on the score sheet. Start his tally for the season, and he hasn't. And he will be bitterly disappointed. It won't stop him though. Kenthurst still coming. They want to go into half-time with the lead. They haven't led at any point in this game, I'll remind. Peter Checker, still Peter Checker. Checker still, he goes down. Referee puts the whistle to his lips. Penalty! And in the space of what feels like about 10 seconds, Kenthurst are going to have the chance to go from down to equal to in front. We are 8 seconds away from the 45th minute. There will not be much added time. I anticipate about 2 minutes. But as everybody argues in a white and green shirt, there is nothing that's going to change the mind of the referee. And we've been waiting for this game to really spice up and give us something to celebrate. And we're about to have, I anticipate, 3 goals or 2 goals and a penalty save in the space of, 7.5 minutes. Jordan Bonello in the 9 jersey. Fluorescent boots. Goalkeeper, Jared Nickel. First name J, last name J. First name J, first name J. Here we go. Bonello. Oh, he skied it! Oh, no! An absolutely horrible penalty, and Castle Hill will feel that makes amends for what they will think was the wrong decision to award it in the first place. Peter Checker won it. Bonello took it. And those competing with the first name J, it was the goalkeeper who came out on top in the end. He's had the better of the strikers in the first half, even though he has conceded, yes. He's just been in their head, and he's made himself big, and he's absolutely scored it. I just finished respraying my car. I hope it didn't hit it. If it is, I'll be upset. But that really did go that deep into the car park. That was an absolutely terrible penalty. I'm sorry. As we hit half-time, I know we spoke before the game. Lovely guy is Jordan Bonello, but that's not his best moment there. Half-time here. It remains 1-1. We go into the half-time break exactly the way we started it. I will see you back in about 10 minutes. I'll go live a little bit before and we can talk about some things from that half. But until then, 1-1 between these two sides. with the wind picking back up and the players returning back to the field. Anything we're waiting on now to kick off what I hope is an equally as entertaining second half are the referees, who would be wise to layer up rain, wind. It almost looks like we're in a different part of the world since we last spoke. I had a look at the live chats at halftime. I'll read out a couple now, those which are appropriate. Nathan Duval wasn't very happy, but Aaron Fraser was quite happy and has been keeping up on all the efforts on goal. And then someone with the last name Langen, first name Kalen, I can imagine that's related to a certain centre-back who wears white and green, was very happy with how the white and green were playing. And then the goal, and then some claims that the penalty shot was as poor as I've ever seen, which is fair enough. I'll remind that even the greatest players of all time have missed penalties, to which you might say yes, but they're under extreme pressure, to which I say yes, but they haven't been training for 100% of their life. Either way, welcome back to the second half here of the MPL Hills Football Competition. My name is Mark DePoli, and I am absolutely excited to bring you this second half. If you have only just joined us, of which you have missed out, I suggest you scroll back while we wait for this second half to begin. We went 35 odd minutes without a goal, without any real big saves, and then we had a goal on this right hand side, but it was for that sitting on the right hand side. Castle Hill United went up 1-0. Fantastic finish in the end by Charlie Jones. Happy birthday yesterday, as I said. And then the equaliser almost straight away. Daniel Vukovic got forward and said, I'll take on a striking role here, and he did just that. Levelled it out to then on the cusp of the final whistle of the first passage of play. Forward came Peter Checker. Down went Peter Checker. Referee whistle was blown. Penalty given. Car park is where the ball ended up. Jordan Bonello won't be happy with how that ended, and he will be looking to make amends. He looks perfectly fine, body language wise, chatting to his fullback who sits just behind him, Matthew Leroy. But I can promise you, I'm not sure what's changed. The football gods or the weather gods have completely shifted the conditions we had. The wind is almost insurmountable. The rain, as you probably won't be able to tell, but the rain is almost impossible to see, yes, but I'm sure it's being felt out there. It's going to completely change how both teams play. Sliding and slipping is about to become a thing of common. Referees are back out. Well, the referee in the centre is back out. We're still waiting our AR on the far side. It'll be Castle Hill running from right to left on your screen. Kentest running from left to right. Like I said at the start, 21 local clubs in this Hills football competition, 13,000 winter players, 3,000 summer players, one of which I am, 350 referees, 1,000 coaches, and what I can promise you is a wholly warm and welcoming football community. However, there was nothing warm and welcoming about the conditions in this second half of the match of the round, our ACPE MPL competition. Round 2 it is, but the washout last week means that this is the one that everyone's got eyes on. Long ball straight away, could find Aegis. Farrell does really well to clear it. Both sides have touched the ball so far now in the first half. Bonello, let's see how he mentally can recover from what was a damaging first half to him right at the end. One moment can change it all. Unfortunately, it changed his for the worse. Vukovic, the goal scorer in red, coming forward, striding forward. Charlie Jones does really well. Even better, though, was Geeky. Russell Farrell across his body. Michael Thornton, rock solid in that first half. Rinaldi, who had chances as well. Peter Checker, who was the best player in the park, won the penalty, I might remind. Wide that's gone, they don't his best ball, and he'll have to do defensive work. It's probably not the thing he likes to do. Aegis with far fresher, younger legs. There's a cross-field switch. If they can get it into a dangerous area, that's a shocking cross. And a huge opportunity early on has gone wayward, to say the least. Aegis, who's had a fantastic half, so far. Will want to lift his head and just get the warmth back into his legs. Like I said, the conditions have changed. It's probably dropped about 5 degrees from the wind and the rain combining together. Let's see who can settle the quicker of the two sides. Long that goes. Joseph Yamin rising highest. I believe we've had a substitute here for Castle United. I will tell you the second I figure it out. Number 28 onto the pitch, Jason Pandazopoulos. Off of the bench onto the left wing in place of Lachlan Davis, I presume. And as he pops up in a separate area of the pitch that I haven't seen so far. Bonello back to goal. Plenty of work to do if he wants to get into the dangerous area. Cleared in the end. Pandazopoulos. Charlie Jones is there. High foot called. Free kick in the way of those in white and green. Brock Munro leaves it. Peter Lawtree slows things right down. Pandazopoulos on the ball. First touch with his left. Worked himself into the game perfectly fine. Dan Berry. Nice looking pass. Idea was correct, but execution not so. Checker. You can tell by his wet hair it's certainly changed conditions out there. And what's been called here by the referee? It wasn't to do with the final touch of the ball. It was something beforehand. Kenthurst with a chance to whip it into a dangerous area. Runners are pushing forward. And just like that, the wind and the rain is gone. I won't even have to take off my jacket now. Is anything in this game going the way we expected? No, and that's the way we like it. Bonello rising. And then maybe flick on. Oh, the goalkeeper's fouled. It would have been called if he didn't claim that second ball, and that might have hurt him as well, but I'm glad he's okay. Jared Nickel had a very solid first half. I wouldn't even put that goal against him at all. Everything he did was solid as a rock. Long ball, that is. Farrell wins it well. Brock Munro. Let's see what those 6 months in Genoa could do. Poor touch by Dan Berry. Peter Checker comes forward. Rinaldi and Bonello were there. Didn't find either of them, though. First throw in from that far side of the pitch of the second half. Rinaldi. Cleared. Under no pressure, but Michael Thornton might want to watch his touch next time. On this near side. Torville forward. Bonello goes down. Doesn't get back up. They're now lacking players in an advanced position. He's stayed down. Wide it goes from Kenthurst. Players are coming in to fill in. Jordan Bonello, really good clipped looking ball. Rinaldi there in a similar position to where he almost won a penalty and a goal before. No, and back it goes, and that dangerous sort of lost, that crispness of pass has not resulted in anything. Rinaldi leaves it to try and run around his marker, but can't quite do that. Goal kick. Kenthurst, formerly known as Kenthurst and Districts Soccer Club, in 2013 changed their name to Kenthurst and Districts Football Club to modernise themselves, playing out at Kenthurst Park in the beautifully rural part of the hills. It's secluded, but it's one of the better facilities and pitches out there, that's for sure. Worth a visit, that's for sure. Checker. Got two runners running wide. It's two substitutes coming onto the pitch. Pandazopoulos and Torville there. It's the one in red who comes out on top. Into the box. Bonello back to goal again. We've said that so many times already this half. Now he tries to twist and turn and manipulate himself one way and the other. In the end, the defenders won out. Pandazopoulos dropping back to do the defensive work. They then lost it here, Torville. Thornton. Backwards, and they retain possession. Unfortunately, we don't get to see him on the pitch, but Graham Forbes, 3 years as a player and a coach, 2 years prior as, I guess you could say, just a player. And despite their success in the 5 years they've been part of this competition, as Aegis tries to make a lung-busting run forward, and Torville 33 on 34 there. It's the one in red who comes out on top, but then even better there by the captain of Castle United, who then lets the ball roll under his feet. And it's back with Kentos Boots Checker, who's come to the near side, blocked by Pandazopoulos. So despite their success, Kentos want to build on the solid foundations they've already put down in the 4 to 5 years since being in this association. They are a marker for success, but they have room to improve in the last 2 interrupted seasons, I've been told. They weren't quite top of the table against Norway. As Rinaldi's put through by a great ball. Rinaldi into the box, now into the box. Rinaldi's lost the ball. He's forgotten to shoot, and the chance is gone. And you can see it on his face, even from this far away. He knows he's had the chances here. But he's not capitalised yet. Fingers crossed for him. And you might have been able to tell from the goal they conceded that Kenthurst want to solidify. Now, they have had defensive substitutions very early on, which changes everything in terms of the setup and the mentality. But they just tend to, according to their coach, just drop to the level of the teams below them. And most teams, on paper, are below them. And if they drop to the level, then it makes every game competitive. And despite their team chemistry and their success and their technical ability, you concede silly goals, perhaps like you could call the first. Just a lapse in concentration. You end up here at 1-1. Who's going to be the bearer of bad news for the opposition? Rinaldi, who's pushed wide from that pass. Bonello stays central. He's got a lot of work to do here to get it into a dangerous area. But if there's anyone who could do it, it's him. Rinaldi onto his right-hand side. Rinaldi clips it in towards the back stick. Rising really well was Connor Holmes, and it's cleared. Charlie Jones then goes back to the man who cleared it, and they escape. They've done really well there, and there could be a counter-attack launched here if they're quick on the ball. Really good ball by Monroe. Can the keeper get there first? He does. Pandazopoulos lurking. Not quite getting there in the end. Vukovic, the goal to his name. Forward he comes. Through Hooker by Cook. He will keep this ball. That he does. He's made a 40-yard run here already. He's still got the ball. He's then fouled. Advantage played. No. Finally called up. Will they take this quickly or slow it right down? It's a shooting opportunity for someone with an absolute wicket rocket. But I think they might look to whip this in, use their height advantage, and put themselves up for the first time in this game. We've seen Castle Hill like to utilise pace, but not really in the second half have we seen them do that just yet. Perhaps you could say the cross by Aegis, but that's been it so far. They need to welcome themselves back into the second half by stamping their authority and at least evening up possession, territory. Currently, it's all those in red. Tassis whips it in pretty shallow in a block with the face by Luke Armstrong. Play continues. No sign of stopping it. Could there be a counter-attack launched here, though? Everyone seemed to stop for a second, and now it's 3v3 and 3 younger legs, that's for sure. He's been fouled and brought down. Aegis, can he square it to McPhee? Aegis, he squares it, he's onside. Can he finish? He does! He does! What a counter-attack, and the goal is given. No flag has been raised, and Castle Hill United, who took the lead at the back end of the second half, now have taken the lead once again. A blistering counter-attack. And perhaps you'd say it was all in the genius of Dan Berry taking out his man, slowing play down, didn't even cop the yellow card for it. A block in the face by Luke Armstrong, who will feel that tomorrow and probably the day after. But in doing that, he's inadvertently launched a 2012 Real Madrid-esque counter-attack, and they have put themselves up by 1, making it 2-1, and today is considered away side once again have the lead. This is live local football, as good as it gets. A penalty miss, 3 goals already, and still plenty of the game left to go. Kenthurst, how will they respond? Once again, seeming to dominate possession, crosses into the box, chances, and then out of nowhere, they do exactly what I've just warned you of a couple of moments ago. Rinaldi, missed touch. Ball in favour of the captain of those in white and green. A fantastic reception building around him. I'm not sure if you can quite see them on your camera angle. But there are at least 200-300 people as a huge tackle by Vukovic comes in. That'll be a yellow card. He says he got the ball. The ball says otherwise. It went the opposite direction. Monroe has got up as if a mosquito landed on him rather than the rifle that is Vukovic's right boot. A yellow, a free kick, a chance, question mark. Let's see. I just want to take the time before this goes in to commend the counter-attacking football of this Castle Hill United side. Now, I'm very used to playing on quite a big pitch at Frederick Reserve, of course. But I'll just say now, that was as good as it gets. World class. Really good ball. That is towards the back stick. Cleared in the end by Russell Farrell. Something's been called here. Offside, I do believe. We are missing our assistant referee on that far side for whatever reason, unfortunately, in this second half. Let's hope she is all okay. (2-1) Castle Hill. Did Kenter see this coming? I don't think so. That's why they're pushing numbers forward so often. And it's bitten them on the backside, unfortunately. Plenty of time to make amends, though, and then put themselves ahead. Long and wide. Alex Torville up against the captain. That's gone out, though. He doesn't know it just yet. He'll have to make his way all the way back to right back now. I'd also like to commend, as well as the counter-attack, the reception and celebration by the fans. Castle Hill United fans, I imagine, don't have to leave their home ground on more than a 15-minute odd trip off of Gilbert Road for a Catterson. They've come here in numbers to start their season with a bang. And that bang so far has been Connor McPhee's right boot, who came all the way from right back to the left-hand side. Most advanced player on the pitch, of course, by the defender that kept him on. And to put his side in the lead in what is a riveting tie. Bonello looks to scoop it like Ozil doesn't, though, and it would have been called offside anyway. Rinaldi and Bonello just not on the same wavelength, and we've seen them almost do something that's resulted in that scoreboard going up by 1, but not quite yet. And we wait for that next big moment in the game. Perhaps it'll be a goal. Perhaps it'll be a third goal for those already in the lead. Perhaps it'll be another penalty save. Perhaps a goal-saving interception in the dying depths of the game. Whatever it is, 35-odd minutes left to play. Happy to be here and take you all the way to the end of the 90 in this one. What a game we have to open round 2. This will put Castle Hill United on to equal first currently with 2 other teams, that being this Kento side. Long shot attempted. Unfortunately, it was a bit of a P-roller. Didn't quite catch it how he wanted it. And, of course, Norwest, who played last week. But all other games, of course, been washed out, much like every other association around the area. Across the M7, even further than that. All experiencing the same sort of flooding issues and grass fields being shut, unfortunately. That is the case. Hills Football would like to express their support to anybody flood affected and reach out a hand to those who might need it, especially our local clubs, our 21 clubs who may be suffering. Stay safe, everyone watching along. And if you are disappointed by training being called off, games being called off, don't worry, we want to see you guys play just as much as you do. Unfortunately, clubs and council have the ability to close their fields in the hopes of keeping it at the quality it needs to stop people from getting injuries and stop play being impacted so much that we end up sort of like a mid-2000s Stoke. That ball almost has gone into a neighbouring house. Back to the football, though, I'll say. Not much has happened, lots of stopping and starting as that's just hit. That's just hit Jake Hubbard, who's just come off the bench. Pandazopoulos has gone central. Wide is Dan Berry. Jake Hubbard in that 2 position. Intercepted by Castle Hill. Hubbard's first interaction with the ball. He's given it away. Not intentionally, of course. Touch there is lovely. Forward they come. Vukovic, who's got a point to prove here. Up against Armstrong. Young v older. Into the area. Should be claimed. Wasn't really a lot of communication between goalkeeper and centre-back. Kenthurst still with the ball. Of course, look at the numbers they have forward. If they are to lose it, like a chance here, that's close. This is what can cause what happened for that second goal. Now, forward comes Matthew Leroy, who has been marauding forward all day. Let's see if he can give his team the upper hand on that left flank and result in a goal. Nice touch forward. Oh, brilliant. Bonello. And now from left back to right wing. Oh, no, he's lost it, and he might have hurt himself too. Fortunately for Matthew Leroy, who's wearing the right jersey to be in a position like that, of course. But he might have just pulled up short because of something not feeling quite right, something tweaking there. Let's hope he's okay. Half an hour still to go. Plenty of football tonight to watch, international and domestic. Nice touch there by Jake Hubbard, who's done really well to keep it, and then eventually he's lost it. Vukovic has done well. This is becoming a bit more aggressive in the middle of the park. Checker, who's been brilliant all game. That's gone wide to Rinaldi. Flag has not gone up. He's looking and looking. Plenty of time to do so, not really being closed down too fast. Rinaldi works his way into the box, this time onto his left foot across the face, and then blocked, and then a corner again. Brock Munro from 6 to right back. Diligent defending, that's for sure. Keeping his side in the lead. In swinging corner, Rinaldi in, it comes towards the front post, and then a flick on, oh, just across the base, and we remain at 2-1. However, danger not averted yet, because there is another corner to come in. It will be Vukovic who trudges off to take it. In no real rush, as there's plenty of time for his side to get back into this. It becomes busier and busier here at the ever-beautiful Valentine Sports Park. Another outswinger, in it comes. Vukovic towards the front post, and then should be cleared. It is by Berry. That's gone a very long way. It will be a third consecutive corner. First time that's happened in the game for sure. Vukovic prepared to swing it in again. Daniel Vukovic in, it comes towards the back stick this time. On the follow-up, oh, it's wide. And how close was it? Well, close enough that it took a deflection to put it wide. Fourth consecutive corner. Pressure mounting. Castle Hill United fans worried. Kenthurst fans getting ready to support their side. In swinging this time, it'll be Rinaldi once again. His corners have been great all day. Bonello is there. And he goes towards Russell Ferrer, and no. Will that finally alleviate the pressure? It does. Goal kick. And breathe. And breathe. I'm wearing a very nice pair of headphones that are cancelling most of the sound around me, but I can still feel this tension among the murmurs and whispers of these passionate fans who just want to see their side compete in a long and prosperous season. And why not start it off with a bang here on the match of the round? Of course, this competition brought to you by ACPE. Check out acpe.edu.au. All your course offerings. I'll remind they have partnered with Liverpool International Academy New South Wales to create the next batch of footballing talent in our local area. If you need any more proof, then that's the place to go for sports-related education. Well, I can't help you there. I've given you all you need. Now, dangerous area for Kenthurst. Paul Tassel twists and turns and pirouettes, and unfortunately loses the ball, but in favour of Kenthurst still. Checker, who was just using his body exceptionally well, now squares and couldn't quite find Bonello. Now, could there be a counter-attack launch if they lose the ball here? Something's been called. Whose ball will it be? It will be Kenthurst's. Pandazopoulos happy to let it slow to play right down there. Jake Hubbard leaves it. Yellow card to be given here. He won't be happy with that. Neither will his substitute partner, Pandazopoulos, there. He said he was just giving the ball back, sir. No, you weren't, says the centre referee. Now, we saw a similar ball get whipped in from this area, probably closer to where the referee was, and it resulted in a blistering counter-attack. Are we going to see something similar here? Or what Kentus were hoping would happen about 10 minutes ago and score off of it? They have the height advantage. They have the ability to get up. They have the ability to find an equaliser. In it comes towards the back stick, but it's not really on as far as the 18-yard box, flicked onto danger there. And then on the follow-up, a huge shot by Checker, but far too much oomph behind it. And they can expect about a minute and a half to pass before this ball is back in play. It's gone well behind the Football New South Wales signs. Plenty of wonderful talent between these two sides, players who have gone off to NPL and come back and applied their trade somewhere else. There could be a square ball here to release, and perhaps a third goal. Jake Hubbard, who just got a yellow, but can he make amends? No offside called, no AR there, and the fans are furious. The ball's been played straight away. They need to recover quickly. Luke Armstrong's done really well to win that back. That's a poor touch, though. He's then tried to win it back again. He's then spun on his heels, and another moment where I've gone, whoa, everyone just breathe. This game is heating up, and I think it will be whoever has the coolest head by the end of the 90 minutes will find themselves with 3 points on the board. This game, as we've seen, only takes a minute to really turn around the result. Even if you are 2 or 1 goal down, Pandazopoulos' poor touch. Connor McPhee with a goal to his name. That's just cleared into next week. I've said that a couple of times, but that one was really, might have even been next month, you know. Castle Hill still brave enough to push numbers forward. They trust their energy systems as the slightly younger of the two teams in terms of average age. Trust their ability to get back so they can look for that third goal and put that barrier in between. Although even at 3-1, I'd still back Kenthurst to be able to find a way back. They are very much capable of that. As you might know, they had a very good Australian Cup run. They had a massive 6-1 win over Emu Plains and then unfortunately went down to Tarrawanna. And now that just leaves the league to focus on Pandazopoulos for Castle Hill United. Pandazopoulos, that's got too much behind the ball. Jake Hubbard will try and get there and realises after about the first or second step that he was never going to. Players are starting to feel fatigue, that's for sure. We saw it in the previous game, the reserve game prior to this. Long that goes. Connor McPhee is there. He's clipped it forward. Pandazopoulos looking for it. Won't find him. Back that goes to Joseph Yamin. Long he goes now. Holmes rising highest. Orville was there. Flick on attempted by Tassis, and then he's up against the captain of the Castle Hill side, who's done really well. Might he win the throw in there? He does. And the home fans are really happy with that, as they are with that throw in. Dan Berry putting a lot of pressure there on Michael Thornton. And he again wins consecutive throw-ins for his side. Up the pitch they move ever so slowly. Pandazopoulos there, as is Russell Ferrer. And then cleared by the goalkeeper. He's under some pressure. He had to split the defenders and he did really well. Now Checker, Rinaldi's there. Can he hold his run? He couldn't, so now he does. And that's found Bonello. Can he make amends for his mistake in the first half? No, not yet. Too much on the final touch, just trying to escape the challenge of the last man and instead put it right into the hands of a very welcoming goalkeeper. Now Castle Hill United still with 5 players here in front of the halfway line as they look to still play nice attacking football. Munro, nice shift of his momentum there to get past one. He's done a little version of that again. A little back heel there is bound to frustrate the experienced heads of Kenthurst. He must switch this quickly if they aren't to get boxed into a dangerous area. Holmes, not many options to really find infield. He does really well to find Jake Hubbard. He needs to be strong here and careful not to dive into any tackles like that. And my word, he's done really well to win that on that yellow card though. Can he keep it in? He can't. Someone has gone down in a heap here. I didn't actually quite see what happened, but the shake of the hands and the lack of a reaction from Peter Lawtree suggests that all is okay. Peter Checker. Michael Thornton. Square, slightly back towards Russell Farrell. Farrell now forward. Really good use of the body by Bonello, but unfortunately couldn't get the final touch off. He's asking for a foul. Connor McPhee says no way. Play is still going on, by the way, as Rinaldi has been first to realise, and the goalkeeper will just wait, and just wait, and just wait, and he claims. It's tight and tense here, that's for sure. Berry not had his best time today with the long balls. That's a nicer looking one, but unfortunately snuffed out again. Just needs to find his radar and pitch it perfectly. Geeky does well. Nice use of his wide frame there. Rinaldi up against Holmes. Still Rinaldi on his weaker left side. Clips it and chips it wide really well. Vukovic looking for his double. He's pushed a little wide though after the first touch. Wasn't the greatest. Armstrong there. He's certainly headstrong. And he has been diligent in his defensive duties there. Those 2 sixers have covered at fullback when need be. Very admirably in the entire game. Thornton, who making a characteristic out of... Actually, hang on, Checker might line up something here. Checker, no. Well over and into the part where that ball might not come back for a while. We are lacking a couple of match balls now, that's for sure. As we cross past the 73rd minute of the game, I'd suggest with a couple of stoppages, maybe 20 minutes left to go, probably about 19. And still so much time for things to change. How unexpected? Expect the unexpected. That's all I can tell you. This whole game has been a cluster of shifting emotions, brilliant goals, and harsh moments for both sides, particularly those in red. I'll be left wondering how they didn't come into the second half with a goal advantage. Lawtree, long he goes. Flicked on by Paterzopoulos. Can Hubbard get there first? 2-on-4. Goalkeeper will clear as it comes back to him. Monroe rises really well. That's a really poor clearance. Aegis, who's been not on the ball as much in this half. I'd like to see a bit more. Monroe beats one. Should go down with the free kick. Does. And that will be another minute that just passes on by. And just leaves Kentus with a little bit less time to come back into this game. You can see Luke Armstrong slowing everything down as the referee talks to all players around. And strategically, the more Castle Hill players there, the slower play goes, the more breaths they take in. And the more Kenthurst are put under the firing line. McPhee, Berry, Monroe. McPhee, as you can tell by his run-up here, is very left-footed. You wouldn't have been able to know for his right-footed goal. Monroe, ooh, that's gone way too high. It's almost gone as high as the penalty. And if I wasn't worried the first time about where my car was parked, I certainly am now. Apologies for any of the background ad-lib sounds you can hear. Not too much about it. Paterzopoulos does well, but then loses it. Struggled to really implement himself in this game since coming on around the half-time mark. Forward comes Farrell. He's then found that ball to ricochet. It's gone outside of the box. The keeper will have to be intelligent here. Farrell tries to intercept, throwing his whole body into it. In the end, Kentus get a throw in. Leroy. Nice bit of triangle interplay here. Checker, who's been less involved than in the first half, only because Castle Hill have been on the ball a whole lot more, I'd say. Forward that comes. We're into the offensive third of Kentus, but Castle Hill have won it back. First time clearance. We'll push in the back perhaps. Jake Hubbard now looking to make his mark on the game. That'll go out in favour of who, Mr. Referee? White and green. Just outside of the 18-yard box. A goal here, I think, due to fatigue levels, would probably see the game over. And that comes. Berry using his body really well. One defender goes down. Something's been called here. That's a decision that's confused the home fans and the players, or the away fans and the players, I should say. Castle Hill concede a free kick in the attacking part of the field. That ball has now found its way onto the pitch. We've got 2 balls on the field. Bonello rising, as is Holmes. Stalwart defending. Connor Holmes, who used to be a striker. I said, oh, how long ago? 8, 9. He's now 23. Although with a frame like that, you can see the Wout Weghorst style target man he might be. But no, centre back is where it is today. Lawtree. I think the referee is going to have to ask the players warming up quite literally on the pitch, just outside of the 1 metre space we have between the byline and the fence, to please go away. Interrupting the game. It's happened twice now in the space of about 3 seconds. He has ushered them away like a conductor, and play will finally resume. Once again, it's made another 2 minutes or so pass by. 2 minutes or so that won't help Kenthurst in any way, shape or form. Strong use of the shoulder there, but I see no problem with that at all. Hard but fair. Long by Joseph Yamin. One by Holmes again. Bit of a ricochet there. It's found its way to Jordan Bonello. From left to right to central, he's everywhere along this front line. Langen goes long. Panazopoulos, good looking ball, too much oomph on it though, and it will go back to the goalkeeper. It's been a story of both sides this game. A little bit too much venom on the final ball a whole multitude of times. Could have been a very different game, particularly in that first half for the likes of Rinaldi. Turn and twist, and really well done by Vukovic, who has been bulldog in his progressive plays, and that has to be really careful. Lawtree, and then cleared by Holmes. Just had a really solid couple of minutes there. Vukovic rising, he's done well, won it. Panazopoulos dropping deep, and then Armstrong has hurt himself whilst skewing that clearance. Let's hope he's okay. I've been told the former social captain. I'm not entirely sure what that role entails, but I do know that he'll be running for Prime Minister in 2 years, according to him. Checker has now won it. Checker! Oh, he's missed a sitter. By his own standards, he should be burying that in the back of the net. And off the back of a lapse in concentration by everyone, I think. That chance just came out of nowhere, and perhaps he wasn't ready for it either. I guess that's what happens when a little kerfuffle happens like that, and the ball falls to your feet when you're not expecting it. As Kane Bell will make his way onto the pitch, the number 6 for Luke Armstrong. Let's hope he's okay. But just like that, pivotal moments like that, the captain, Peter Checker. Marconi in his youth, Man United 20s, 32 years old. 4 years ago at Hills United, he was a Golden Boot winner there, as well as a stint at Blacktown City. But in this competition right now, he couldn't quite find the leveller. Will that be the final big chance that Kenthurst make today? Let's hope for more from both ends. Another substitution being made. Number 38, Todd Baker, onto the pitch, off of the pitch. Cameron Agus had a fantastic first half, and a couple of chances in the second as well. He's had a really good game, and you can tell he's certainly fatigued. He's done really well though. Props to you, mate. Square, Kenthurst back in possession of the ball. Kiki. And then wayward pass will be won back by Russell Farrell. left back coming forward again. We saw that he made a chance out of it the first time. It happened about 20 minutes ago, but that time the ball's gone out before it could get to him. Bonello plays Vukovic. Vukovic lines one up from distance straight into the keeper's hands, who fumbles it first time, but absolutely zero pressure. In fact, he might have even done it on purpose. If he didn't, he'll definitely say he did. Ronaldo finally puts it on him, and he claims with no issues at all. And long he's going to go here. Nice and high. And then one Baker goes to check on him. He's to his feet, which is fantastic, but gingerly, that's for sure. Apologies if there was any interruptions in the stream. Just then there was a free kick, which Vukovic took. There was a scramble in the box. Castle Hill United looked to launch a counter-attack, but the referee pulled up play for the injury to the number 19, that being Peter Lawtrey, captain. Play will resume in favour of Castle Hill. Well, that's what I feel like it should be. He tries to make his way back onto the pitch before he gets substituted, but he won't. And currently, they're down to 9 players, unless I've missed someone coming on. They're asking Bonello to give the ball back to Castle Hill, but I would just be careful to make sure he doesn't just have a pot shot here. Castle Hill get it back in the end. That's what the referee has decided, and fair enough. Play will resume. Not long left to go at all. Long and wide that goes. Todd Baker, who's onto the pitch now in that 38 jersey. Far side of the pitch. Kenthurst need to do something and do it fast. Long that goes. He's well offside, though. No point in doing that. That's just going to slow everything down. Look, the keeper will hold it there. Minute on minute will creep on by. Up he claims. Long that goes again. Farrell again wins it out of the sky. Geeky goes back. Winston. It's a Geeky. We are in the 89th and a half minute right now. We're about to be in added time, borrowed time. That's a really nice ball, Dan Berry, but the keeper's exceptionally well positioned to snuff that out. Kenthurst. Chance again, but we are in the critical moments of this game. 3 points or 1 point apiece. Which one will it be? Dan Berry using every bit of energy he has left in those round 1 legs to try and put some pressure on Kenthurst, who have struggled at the back sometimes. Russell Farrell past the halfway line, progressive ball, Rinaldi. Langan's missed it. Rinaldi! Rinaldi, can he finish to equalise? Rinaldi! Yes, he does! An incredible finish. He's had chance after chance, but when it was most important, he stepped up in off the inside of the post, and he's equalised for Kenthurst. It's been coming. Castle Hill just had too many things go against them. A red card, an injury, this and that. And in the dying embers of the game, it's evened up at 2-2. But what a fantastic game to open our season. These two sides have been dying to get onto the pitch. Training cancelled, games cancelled, friendlies cancelled. How about 4 goals, including a penalty miss? What an opening game we have here, but it's not done yet. Don't forget, long ball attempted here. And straight away, from left back up here, Matthew Leroy. Checker looks to get there cleared in the end by the person who missed the opportunity to step in and intervene that goal from happening. Langan, unfortunately, I have to point that out for a second. Players going down off of the ball with injury and cramps, and it's to be expected. They've done very well considering how long this game's gone on for. Most players would be down already. Difficult surface, massive pitch. Kenthurst still pushing. This is why they are one of the best teams at local level side. Vukovic, who was involved in the goals earlier in the first half. Dogged and determined to try and get it into a dangerous area. Can't quite, though, get it out of his feet. Jake Hubbard's done well. Has to be careful not to give away too many free kicks on that yellow card, I will remind. We've already seen 1 red. I wouldn't want to see another. 2-2 here, 92nd minute. Hands on heads. Players coming onto the pitch for Castle Hill to just make sure they can hold on to a point. Number 25. You have to forgive me, unfortunately, he's not on my team list. Perhaps he picked up the wrong jersey number. I saw him playing in the reserve game. He's absolutely meant to be here. He's just not on my team list. And now Bonello comes forward and then fouls McPhee in the process. Back and forth in who's in possession. Geeky. Geeky from distance! Over the bar. Will that do it? Players going down. Castle Hill United players going down. They just need to slow it down. They're not going to get the chance to win this game. They just don't have enough. They have the player disadvantage as well, don't forget, and they are run rugged. They just need to hold out, put everybody on and defend. Ronaldo, instead of an in-swinger, it'll be an out-swinger this time from the near side on the right-hand side of your screen. Can there be a winner here? Surely not. Last chance perhaps. Ronaldo, in it comes. And then Bonello rises. Vukovic is there to try and keep the danger and the pressure on. Now whipped in. No, it's not. Reverse ball is really nice. Into a dangerous area. It's clipped up. Keeper's come one way and the other. Oh, and off the top of the crossbar. Another corner's going to be given from that touch before the ball hit the crossbar. It was not helped on. It was deflected onto there in the first place, which is why the keeper was caught in no man's land. Ronaldo will rush from one side to the other to take this. I have seen corners not being able to be taken because half-time and full-time has been upon us too quickly, so they will have to be quick. Ronaldo, now this will be an in-swinger. Everyone there, bar two. Up it goes. Very deep this time, cleared, maybe. Calls for a handball. And full-time and breathe. Point shared here at Valentine Sports Park between these two great teams. And what a show we've seen in our ACPE MPL competition. Kenthurst, they're on 4 points after their bye. Gave them 3 in the first round. Glasgow United pick up their first. Today is considered a wayside, of course. They had the lead twice. They back in the lead twice, unfortunately. But I thank you all for watching along today. I think it's been a fantastic game, and I hope you've all enjoyed it. There's been penalty misses. There's been 4 goals, offsides, close, crossbar hit right at the end. My name is Mark Zapoli. Thank you very much for having me. I will fill in again if need be. Appreciate your time watching along. Keep watching these two sides if you want to watch great local level football. Thanks again to ACPE. Visit acpe.edu.au, and we will see how this competition fares up. But what an opening game. Good night.